Hello Hackney Church Youth, my name's Hayden. I'm going to teach you how to do wheelie today. The first step is know how to ride a bike. If you can't ride a bike, just simply click off and just watch a video on how to ride a bike. Okay, second step, you need to learn where your balance point is. I'm going to show you, everyone's balance point is different, but for me, my balance point is like there. I could just sit there without using my brakes for ages. And first step is pedal whilst you're doing it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this right now. Hey.
How do you feel about that?
Guys, I'm shook. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah?
Nah.
No,
I don't.
Okay, yo, Temmie, come here, come try this,
Hey.
COVID and that, you know, get me.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, these aren't even open, man. Look at this. Nah, what is it?
COVID and that.
Alright. Let's do this.
Yeah, looking after our place, Temmie, that's responsible youth right.
Did you see it?
I don't think that's worthy. Alright, let me show you.
jackass.
You don't want to fall. You don't want to fall. Oh look, I've got.
It was okay as it's your first time, but Samuel, do you want to try it?
Yeah, I'll try. Here. David. Oh, lovely. Very safe.
Oh! This is it. Come on.
You don't want to fall. Oh look.
My days. Oh my baby days.
Hey Hackney Church Youth and welcome to Groups this week. I'm Ella.
I'm Samuel, and we have so much coming up in tonight's episode. But before we go anywhere else, what do we need them to do, Ella?
We need you to like this video, share it with your friends right now and subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe to the channel. We need to get to 100 subscribers, all right? Deal. Okay. We're gonna worship now though, and just before we worship, we wanna pray. So let me pray right now. Father God, would you come and meet with us now as we worship? You have all the glory in what we do here in Groups. We love you. Amen.
Every knee will bow before his throne. Every knee will bow before his throne. He's coming through the clouds. Kings and kingdoms will bow down. And every chain will break. As broken hearts declare his praise. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. Every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains. Every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Every knee will bow before him. Open up the gates, make way for the King of Kings. Our God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. Every knee will bow before him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains. Every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Every knee will bow before him. Oh, great God, yeah. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Yeah. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Yeah.
Hackney Church Youth, it's so good to be able to worship together, isn't it? And at home, you can just lift your hands and go for it and just belt it. That's what I do. But anyway, we are starting a sick series this Sunday on identity. And today we're just going to dig a little deep into who we are. And so we've got a really great talk between Samuel and I coming up for you right about now.
Right, ready?
What's up? I feel like we need a bit of a theme song.
We both thought we were about to jump into a theme song. No.
We rolling? We're rolling. Let's do it. Hey guys, what's up? Hackney Church Youth groups and anyone else who's watching. Welcome. I'm here. Your boy Temi, Samuel. What's going on? We're so excited to be chatting with you guys today. We're exploring something that I think is like so deep and so complex, and that's us, identity.
That's right.
We're going to be, over the next few weeks, talking about what does it mean to be us, and actually who defines who we are, like where does the idea of us even come from, and we're going to be going deep on that really. And I'm so stoked to be with Samuel, and today what we chatting about.
We thought we'd get it going, you know what I mean? Just like entry level.
Just do it.
Well, I thought that one of the big points and kind of big areas of identity starts with like where have you come from, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And here's the mad thing. Temi, you joined staff,
What, 3 weeks? 4 weeks?
3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
One of the first conversations me and Temi had, we found out that having kind of lived separate lives, never really met each other before Temi came to Hackney Church, we found out that we grew up in the exact same area.
Same area.
Where did you go on? Describe where you
So
go.
like, I was in Enfield basically. So I grew up in and around Enfield, and I spent a lot of time in Edmonton. If anyone knows where that is, Edmonton. I love how I said Edmonton.
You went back.
Yeah, I went back. But then also like I used to chill out with a lot of guys around Southgate as well. And Samuel,
That's where I grew up. I grew up in Southgate.
Southgate.
I went to Southgate Secondary School, and I vividly remember playing your school at football, Kingsmead.
Who won?
It varied, all right. It varied from year 7 all the way to year 13. It varied, but Kingsmead was a good school. I remember I played tennis against Kingsmead.
I never got into the first team. I'm so disappointed.
It's alright, bro. Don't worry.
But we were also in the same year group, guys.
Same year group,
It's mad.
same age, same area.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up for you in Enfield? What kind of?
Yeah, good question. Enfield was such a cool place. It's London. Let's take London. It's diverse, right? You've got so many different types of people. You've got black people and white people and Asians. You've got people who are super into sports. You've got people, especially in Kingsmead, you've got people that were super into like the dramatic arts and performance culture. And so it was really cool just always being around them. And I remember like when I was going in lunch breaks and stuff, I would sometimes chill out with the guys who were like playing tennis, thinking they were the next Roger Federer. Like legit, they had their own rackets. And then next lunchtime, I'd be like in the library with the guys playing Dungeons and Dragons. And so there was like a real like cool vibe of, you just didn't know what it was gonna get that day. And for me, Enfield was always that. It was like new day, different vibe all the time.
So that was Edmonton. Southgate was like slightly different. In
Right.
Southgate, you had tons of. It was like a big Greek-Turkish community in North London. As I often tell the story that half of my best friends at school were Greek, and I come to like Hackney, and unfortunately, there's like no Greek people in Hackney. Well, I'm sure there is some. Sorry. But there's not.
Sorry, if you're Greek and you live in Hackney,
you're watching this, you're so welcome here.
Yeah, hit us up, man. Like, where you at? Where you been?
We want you here.
Where you been? No, I feel you, man. Greek people make good food.
Chef Talia.
That is one thing. Cool. So I was thinking, like, cool. I met Samuel. We grew up in the same area, same year group. But there's so much more to us. You know, we're complex people. We're different. So I'm basically got a few questions here, and I'm gonna ask him some questions. Gonna ask you some back, and you guys are getting to eavesdrop on what we say. So
we're gonna find out about our identity, right?
Basically.
All right.
Most important question. 30 minutes spare time. You're at home, long day. what do? You got 30 minutes spare time before that big Zoom call.
Like between stuff.
Between stuff. So it's not like you got ages.
Okay.
30 minutes. What do you do with it?
I'm really, at the moment, it changes. I'm a bit of a phase guy, like go through phases. But at the moment, I just love them like 10-minute long semi-educational videos on YouTube. You know when it talks about like, where was the dollar first made? Or like, where does money get printed? Or how does the FTSE 500 work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like stocks and shares and stuff like that. Just like little educational videos.
I like that.
Or like, how was the Tower of London built? Or something like that. I just find those videos fascinating.
What was the tower?
I don't know. I'm making them up on the spot. But.
No, I feel you, man. That's sick. That's sick. It's like basically like Wikipedia on the go.
It's true. It's true. It's like Wikipedia in video form. That's it.
Fair play.
Yeah.
I like
what
it.
about you?
Man,
Half
embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing. Basically, guys, I've got a really love-hate relationship with Arsenal Football Club.
This is the other thing. We're both Arsenal fans as well. I mean, you're much more like loyal fan than I am.
Mate, it's been hard. Trust me, I literally stopped supporting Arsenal for like 3 seasons.
When Wenger left, I was like, I'm struggling to love this team.
Yeah,
I loved Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
I remember the 03-04 unbeatable season.
Oh.
Anyway, we're getting lost.
Anyway, spare 30 minutes, I'm like looking who Arsenal's about to sign in the transfer window. Also, the transfer window got extended to October 5th, and this is perfect for me. Like, I literally trying to sign Thomas Partey. Anyway, that you don't need to know about this stuff.
That's what you do in half an hour. I got you.
Anywho, let's get into it a bit more. So, your name's Samuel.
Yeah.
Cool. But what makes you like? Okay, that's a big question. Okay, give me like the top 3 things, or any 3 things that come to mind that has shaped you in some way. It could be anything. It could be what you ate this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but yeah, you get the drift.
Okay. I'd say one of the things that shapes us and shaped me for sure is like the culture of the family that I grew up in.
That's dope.
Kind of some of the behaviour, some of the practices, some of the things you take for granted. You can't necessarily name them, but you know that they've had a really big impact on who you are.
Yeah.
And like one of the silly little things that you'll often, if you go to eat with me, you'll find that I always finish what's on my plate.
Come on.
Just always. And here's the thing, there's a story. Because when I was growing up, I was never allowed to leave the table until that plate was clean.
Wow.
Like my dad would.
That's discipline, man.
I'm telling you, it was like really strict because we didn't grow up with tons of money. We were fine, but we grew up in, my parents were pastors, and so we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so it was just instilled in me that we don't waste anything.
Yeah,
Everything's
got to go.
Zero waste.
Love it.
So
for all the ethical people out there, this is your guy, man.
Yeah, but it wasn't ethically driven. Okay, it wasn't ethically driven. But I remember. Here's a funny story. I've told this before, I think, that I was once eating Weetabix in milk. Okay, and I left it for too long. And don't know if you know what happens when you've got Weetabix milk. Yeah. You leave it for too long, it turns into like this like bowl of mush, and it's not enjoyable. There's nothing enjoyable about it. And I remember I must have been 6, 7, young boy, and I was like, Dad, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're gonna eat it. You're gonna eat this bowl of mush. And he was like, you're not leaving the table until you eat this bowl of Weetabix mush. And I remember, this is no joke. This is the discipline of David Taylor. He would not let me leave the table and finish. I was eating it with tears in my eyes. I was like, you're a horrible dad. You're a horrible dad.
That should be the new Weetabix ad.
You're a horrible dad. Anyway. But anyway, that's like a...
This is Joe. I feel like the discipline of David Taylor could be a film. But we're not making a film, so we're going to move on. Cool. So, family.
Yeah.
Food habits. Yeah. The discipline of David Taylor.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So these are
kind
things.
Of strict.
Yeah. Good man. But you're year 10, right? You've come home, it's a rainy day, it's been long, you nearly got detention, just a long day in general. The girl that you have a crush on, you saw her walking with someone else.
Yeah, man, she's texting someone else.
She's texting someone else. So you go into your room, you put your headphones in, what do you listen to? Like, what's the music that like was that moment for you? Like
Year 10.
Yeah.
So what am I, 15?
15, 16.
Okay. Now, my music's changed, but when I was 16, 15, I was pretty basic. I was a pretty basic music listener. So it probably would have been Bon Iver, Holocene. Do you know that album? If you don't know Bon Iver, go look. He's got this like, he sings like, he sings like falsetto the whole time, plays the piano. It's beautiful stuff, but it's pretty
That's interesting.
it's pretty basic. But I
Bon
love Bon
Iver.
Iver. I remember listening to that song called Holocene, like over and over again. I'm not going to try and sing it, but
I was literally waiting for him. I was
Listen to,
like, he has to crack out that
I
falsetto.
was into Coldplay. I listened to Mumford and Sons. I just love playing the guitar. I used to love playing the guitar all the time. So that was my vibe.
That's dope.
What about you? That's important.
Yeah,
Year
yeah.
10. Tell me.
For me, it was Chipmunk, man.
Chipmunk.
Tottenham. He was
He's
my
from
guy.
Tottenham.
The guy I used to walk home with. He was like his second cousin. Or something.
Really?
Apparently. It was like his second cousin. But generally, like, he knew where he lived.
Yeah.
And so we used to walk home. The route we used to walk home, we used to walk past Chipmunk's house. I remember when he like brought out like the like kind of Chip Diddy Chip, like I am Chipmunk. And now for me, there was something about it as well, because he wasn't as like in terms of physically big, or like he didn't have that kind of gangster look to him. People used to call him a bit of a sweet boy, and they used to get onto him. But musically, like he could just spin anyone. And so I just had this thing about him, like he wasn't trying to be like this big like scary guy. He was just pure musical talent. So yeah, Chipmunk was my guy.
I
man.
remember. I wasn't really into rap music growing up. I enjoy it now. But when I was growing up, someone showed me a Chipmunk song, and it had J&E, and it also had this girl called Lady Sovereign.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I know.
She's not around anymore.
No.
But I remember this song with those three
You
people.
guys don't know about that.
Yeah, don't worry. Naughties.
Chip was my guy.
Love that.
Cool. We got like 2-3 minutes, guys. So we're gonna hit you with one last question for Mr. Samuel Taylor, and it's this. This is quite a deep one.
Come on, let's do it.
What advice would you have given to yourself 5 years ago?
What? So 20.
20 years old.
Okay.
Just a key bit of advice. Like you walk past yourself one day. That's weird. Like you walk past like a doppelganger or something. But 5 years ago, quick piece of advice.
I would genuinely say. Now this is a deep question, and he also didn't prep me on this one.
It's the best kind of question.
I would genuinely say to a 20-year-old Samuel, to a 16-year-old Samuel, to a 14-year-old Samuel. And like so I think this is why it's so important that we're doing what we're doing right now, because I would genuinely say, like, learn to embrace who God has made me to be. Like, learn to embrace who God has made you, and embrace that person.
Yeah.
I think I got so caught up growing up in comparing myself to other people, and I used to kind of hide under like a masquerade of like being competitive. But for me, being competitive was like a virtuous way of me actually just being stuck in comparison.
Wow.
And
that's good stuff, guys.
but I would genuinely say, like, even now it's a struggle, and I'm still learning.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm still learning what it looks like, but there is a real sense of like I am who I am because God made me like this, and I've got imperfections that I'm growing in.
Yeah.
But at the core, just learning to love and embrace the person that God has made me and is making me as well. So that's what I would say to myself. What about you?
Wow. Guys, that was really good. I think for me, similarly, I would say something along the lines of don't focus on perfection, but allow God to take you through the process. I think something like that, because with the comparison thing, comparison's kind of built on this idea that you'll never quite ready yet. You're never quite finished. There's always something you can improve on. And as Samuel said, it's something that I still struggle with today. But for me, I remember being 20 and thinking, all right, by 22, I need to have done this and got my degree. And I'm 24, I've moved out, and I'm living alone, and I've got this sick car. And by 26, like I'm married, and all of these things. And when it didn't get to being there, I used to think, like, I'm so imperfect, I'm so unfinished. And I think what God's been showing me recently is that you're work in progress.
That's good.
And I'm doing things in you. And so for me, I think that's what I'll say. Not just to 20-year-old me, to 16-year-old me, to 11-year-old me, I'd say, hey, look, allow God to take you through the process. Like, you're not going to be perfect overnight. And guys, this is why we're doing this. Like, there's so many aspects that make us us, and so many things that basically speak into who we are. And in groups over this month, and starting this Sunday as well, we're going to go deep into identity. We're going to learn what makes us us, and more importantly, what does God say about us. And so as we go into groups tonight, why don't you just press in, show up. You're in that group for a reason, and your voice is needed, and who you are is needed. And so as you're in your groups today, dig in, ask some questions. Don't be afraid to challenge your leader. If they say something like, oh, why do you think that? No, just go for it. And we'll see you this time next week. Until then, stay tuned.
See you in a bit, guys.
Take care. Guys, thanks for being with us this week. It's been so good. I hope you were able to get some good stuff out of our chat and everything that we did today. How's your wheelie skills? All right, we'll chat about that after. But now we're about to go into groups. So if you know what group you're in, get on your Zoom link. If you're not sure, you haven't spoke to your leader yet, chat to your leader. And if you don't have a group, I'm so sad, but we have an open house Zoom chat for you. Link's gonna be in the chat. Have a look, get in there if you don't have a group. And if you're not even in Hackney Church Youth, what are you doing? No, I'm joking. You're more than welcome. We'll see you again next week. Just make sure you like, subscribe, and share this channel. Come on, guys. We're in this together. So we'll see you in the group chats in about 2 to 3 minutes. See you then. Take care.